hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Unlocked Show. I'm your host, Tracy Wilson, and it's my absolute pleasure to be here with you guys today. I've got a bit of a treat for you today. I have got the amazing John C Morley with me today. He is a serial entrepreneur, and I absolutely love speaking with serial entrepreneurs. They have so many awesome stories. They've got a lot of ups and downs to share with us and do's and don'ts that we always want to hear about. If there's some way that we can figure out what not to do, is often the fastest track to success. So I love speaking with people that have done a lot of things. Now, John is a talk show specialist. He's also the president of his local chamber of commerce over there in the United States in New Jersey. I was just talking to him and I was like, oh yeah, I'm picking up on the accent. And also he is an engineer and marketing specialist. So in today's show, I thought we would talk about how to actually stay motivated as an entrepreneur, because God only knows, as an entrepreneur and a business owner, there are so many ups and downs, and often it is sometimes really difficult to maintain your level of motivation. You can only be up for so long, and then sometimes you just feel like they're a little bit blur. So I'm wondering from John's perspective, what does he do when he's a serial entrepreneur to just keep going, to continuously find that motivation and inspiration that just keeps him fueled up and ready to go? And I know that what he's going to share with us today, you guys are going to be able to take away, you're going to be able to implement it in your life so that you too can stay motivated and you too can get the things done that you need to get done. So welcome to the show, John. Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to have you.
It's a pleasure, and thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, look, let's start with a little bit of your backstory. What drove you to become a serial entrepreneur, and what sort of things have you been getting up to?
Well, first thing is, I started as a business owner, not even a business. I started as somebody who knew they wanted their own business many years, and then in college, I decided to enact that dream by starting a tech support company for $10. Now, not per hour. That's $10 to fix the problem, whether it was 1 hour, 10 hours a day. You can't make money doing that. But it was fun. It was passion, still is a passion. Mm-hmm. And then I did phone support for $5. And so when I went from that stage, I graduated and I realized that, I definitely want to take this to the next level, which I had decided as a junior in college. But when I got into my business, I didn't know anything, Tracy, about marketing. Nothing. And being an engineer, had no clue about where things were going. Everybody comes to me, John, you're never going to be a marketer. You don't know advertising. You don't know marketing. I'm like, okay, no big deal. And, I kept hearing this. And so when I was in college, a good friend of mine hooked me up with a large marketing advertising firm. I'm not going to mention their name for respect reasons, but they're still in business, unfortunately. And they kind of took me over the coals for money that I didn't have, that my father was paying for before I even had a business that was even sustaining itself. And so I realized, after a lot of things, but I realized that I got to get rid of this company. Like, they're draining me, and they don't know anything. Like, I know more than they do, and I don't know marketing. But this all came to a head because when I graduated, it was just before I graduated, there was a famous gentleman that I was on what they call program council, basically the board, and I was the person that wrote the checks for the entire S Student Association. And so I had to give a check out to this guy for $10,000 and $10,000. Now, many years ago, that was a lot of money. And so I said to the guy when I saw him, I said, look, I've done my homework on you, and I want to be very clear and honest with you. I know what you do. Here is your check for $10,000 for the show. This check will be cashable, and you'll get a second check from me, providing that you don't pull me or my team up and make us look like a fool on the stage. I know what you do. You're a stage hypnotist. And I shook his hand and this and that. And I said, oh, one more thing. I said, if the money isn't going to motivate you to do a good job, I will make sure that all my friends in the circuits from Harvard, Yale, and all the colleges will make sure that tour you have planned, they're going to call and cancel. So he was very nervous going on stage now. Everything finished. I had the second check from him. He shook my hand. I said, "Thank you very much, sir." I said, "It was a pleasure." So it was our pleasure. I said, "You very professional show." He made other people look like a fool. I didn't care. When that was all done, I realized there was something more in the mind, Tracy. And I realized, but I didn't know. I had taken the Silva method when I was only a junior, but it didn't go anywhere. It didn't sink in. So I said, you know what? I got to learn neurolinguistic programming, which is the art of taking objects and representation for our language to communicate to what we actually do every day. And so the next thing I realized is I need to stop paying people to help me achieve my goals. But how am I going to do that? I said, I got it. I need to become one of those people that I pay, the hypnotists, these people. So I studied hypnosis and I got certified in that. At that point, it was when I realized, wait a minute, John, you're running other people's programs. And you didn't give them permission to do that, but you're running their stuff. Not going to be a marketer, never going to have any money. I said, And when I went through this, I said, the first thing I'm going to do after I learn this is I'm going to manifest a luxury car. Now, at the time, I had a very nice car, but I wanted a very big luxury car. And so I went to the dealer, drove it, took a picture of it, put it on my laptop, put it on my iPhone. And 6 months later, Tracy, that car was in my driveway. That's when I realized that I think I can get better at this. And so I started doing all kinds of different tracks and all kinds of things. And then I realized that when I did this, wait a minute. Now, this assumption happened years back. So the one company is 33, 34 years or whatever it is. This other company, actually 24 years young. This other company is 11 years young. But I had decided 11 years ago, you know what? I need to fire these people. They're horrible. They're making mistakes. And you know you're working with the wrong company, Tracy, when they take you to breakfast, lunch, or dinner based on the deposit check you gave them. And if that's not truth, I played a game one time. I told them I was sending them the $100, and I sent them $500. They magically called me and said, John, we need to reschedule. Well, we can reschedule. No. We've got you all booked tonight at Ruth Chris. Okay. So that kept happening. Then they made mistakes. I said, these people don't know what they're doing. They're con artists. But how do I get rid of them? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to market. I don't know how to advertise. And I did some homework. We were already a client of Xerox for one of their machines. And I said, I'm going to go to them and ask them, you sell production equipment. How do I become a small little mom and pop shop? They told me. They took me to breakfast. They took me to lunch. They said 150. I said, I'll give it to you right now. They said 150,000. I said, let me get back to you. Went to my bank. Long story short, my bank said yes. I was not expecting that. I'm like, oh no, now what do I do? The bank said yes. Usually the banks say no. And now I realize that I'm asking for this money. So I go back to my place and I say, you know what? Unfortunately, guys, I have some bad news. The bank didn't fully approve me. Now, they did approve me for the 150, but I said they were only able to give me 130. I said, I'm so sorry. I don't want to waste your time, but thank you so much. He came back to me and said, hang on, John. They went back to the room, came out. You're in luck because this month we're running a special on that machine, 20,000 off. I didn't know what. I pulled this out of who knows where, but I just did not want to pay full price for this machine. I said, what about my training? Because, I can't afford to pay for that. We'll throw in 40 hours of training on us. Heck, we'll give you 60 hours, no charge. I was on my way. I started a company. I took a little tiny space in my one company to rent space to this other company for $1 a month. That's it, $1, just to keep it legal. And I started doing things for my IT company, printing brochures, designing things. If I had a concept to do something in the morning, I would have the team work on it and I could send it to production and it would be ready and it could be in the mailbox the next day. See, you can't do that with most companies. So I wanted that flexibility. So I said, I love this. And now I said, you know what? I got to take this to another level.
Mm-hmm.
I've always loved video production, printing. So we decided to expand to print on anything: paper, plastic, metal, glass, wood. But how that evolved into marketing was as I started realizing how to acquire clients and how to brand and how to do things the wrong way, I realized that I actually know a lot about marketing that I didn't give myself credit for. But I kept knocking myself because I was like, John, you don't have a master's in marketing. You're right. I don't have anything in marketing. Yeah, you can't do marketing. And so I was believing that. And an example, many years ago, I was saying, you're never going to have any money. And when I said that, Tracy, it clicked in my head. After a while, and I started programming myself, and I came back and I said, you're never going to have money. Something different happens now. I can't click with it. I can't. I'll think about it. I'm like, wait a minute. No, I can't. I can't click it. It won't click. Like, I just can't. So that was the first stage. And I knew that I needed to start embracing the subconscious because 95% of what we do is run by our subconscious. I didn't know this until I had graduated with hypnosis. And then I went back and took Silva again, which, by the way, when you pay for the course, you could take it as much as you want. So I realized that I needed to grow, but I didn't know how. For the first 2 years, Tracy, I failed miserably. Oh, the company came back when I walked into the guy's office and I knocked on their door. When I told them that I was going to fire them, I'll speed through the whole thing. They're like, John, they're like, oh, you don't want to do that. You're going to fail. It's terrible. They come back to me 2 years later and said, John, we want to work with you. We want to take you to lunch. Why? Well, we heard you're busy and we want to see if we can help you because you're not used to dealing with these big companies. And we know how to handle them. So I came back with them with a very interesting statement. I said, gentlemen, I am touched that you have the concern and compassion for me and my business. I'm really touched. But I got a better idea. Why don't we actually take some of your clients and we'll do the work. You can keep your brand. They'll get an ROI. They'll keep doing business with you, and they're all going to be happy. Well, that's above my pay grade. Well, maybe we shouldn't be going to lunch then. Maybe I should be going to be lunch with your boss or your owner. Why would I give you my business when I've spent my hard sweat and tears to get it and let you just destroy it when you've already seen how you've almost destroyed my company? Okay. And they just they went away. And that's when I realized I had talent. I was a talk show host for many years on Blog Talk, which, as you know, is a very beginning platform. And it was okay. And we liked it because you could do call-ins easily. And it was all right. I was so happy to have a couple hundred people at that time. And then I realized I wanted to be national radio. So I kept writing little demo things, sending them to the stations. And they kept saying, John, you're a nobody. You're never going to get anywhere. Okay. Can I? Yeah. If we're interested, we'll call you. I kept doing this. Guy called me. He says, we're going to try you out on a small thing. We know you're nobody. I said, well, thanks. But we're going to give you a shot. And he calls me up and he says, we're going to syndicate you. What is? I said, what's that? Well, we're going to broadcast you to 48 other states beside ours. I said, wow. Doing very well. We're growing the brand, growing the station. They're ready to get advertisers for me. I bring a huge advertiser in, but I don't get one penny of it. I brought them a $3.5 million advertiser. Went to the station. Long story short, I said, what am I getting my money? My 60%. Oh, John, it's complicated. Why is it complicated? Well, you really got to talk to the station manager. I can't get into all this. It's complicated. So I talked to him. He says, oh, you know what, John? I don't even know where to begin with this. You really should talk to Gary, who's the station owner. All right. I call Gary. I say, Gary, what's the deal with this? Oh, John, thank you very much for the referral. We got the $3.5 million check. Thank you so much. Yeah, about that. When am I getting my money? See, that's unfortunate. The way the cookie crumbled this time, you don't get anything. What do you mean? We had a contract. Well, they did bring us money, and it was valid and all this stuff. But unfortunately, they didn't advertise on your show. They called to buy out your show. I said, my show's worth $3.5 million. Well, now it is. I said, well, that's not fair. He said, John, radio, advertising, marketing, nothing's fair. But you'll do good. You're a good kid. And I had this pit in my stomach that I didn't know what to do. And I wanted to just give up, which I did for several years. I didn't want to be on radio. I didn't want to do voiceovers. I didn't want to do production. I just wanted to just stop it all. Several years ago, a friend of mine said, John, how's J More Tech Talk? Oh, that ship sailed. We don't do that anymore. Really? Yeah. It was that part of my life's closed. Oh, well, listen, there's a guy who wants to meet you. I said, we're not talking to guests. No, he's not a guest. He just wants to talk to you about your show. So I talked to him. I figured it's a podcaster needing some help. He said, John, I was just wondering if you would be interested in doing a show with me just one time for old time's sake. Would you take me on as a co-host? I said, I don't have a show anymore. Well, we could do you could do the show again, and I'll be your co-host. I said, all right, we'll do one show together. I said, but then we're going to hang it up. So we did one show. The show went pretty well. And he says, that was fun, I said, yeah, it was a lot of fun. How about we just do it one more time? I said, I'll agree to do it one more time as long as you promise me that the show is done, that we're done after this. We're going to announce to our viewers that we're done. Absolutely. I'm not going to make you continue the show. Fine. We have the second show, I said, and it's time, unfortunately, to give you guys the news. We've been on the air for several years. We're going to say goodbye. He says, John, not yet. I said, well, you want to say something first? Well, you can't really say goodbye yet. Well, we agreed. Well, we did. And that was before you had 6 guests waiting to come on your show. And I said, I guess we're going to be back next week. I don't know how, but we're going to be back right here, I guess on the same station and some other places. And then we grew and we started getting celebrities and other people, and it was great. And then this past year, I decided that I was going to do something I'm very passionate about, which is to launch a motivational show, Inspirations for Your Life. And we broke over 2,000 downloads. So I was extremely happy about that. And our big goal now is to crack 10,000, hopefully by the end of the year. So it's been this whole thing that I didn't even plan. And I had planned on hanging it up, but that didn't go that way, Tracy.
It sounds like based on, on that story and what's sort of unfolded over, and I'm assuming that's over, a decade or a few decades that these things have sort of unfolded. And it's, it's funny how one thing, starting out in college, like, okay, I'm going to make a few extra dollars here. Not really even sure how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to start out making $5 and $10 here and there. And that whole, that step that you took way back then was really the catalyst that has created everything else. Because, as you're talking, I'm saying, and that's why, down the path of that, the tech space, into radio, and then growing out your business. And obviously over that time, and as I'm listening to, there's a lot of clues inside of that story that you've told. For other entrepreneurs and other business owners, often, we think we can't do things, or we might be like, I can't do that. I have to hire somebody else. And then you soon realize that actually, I do know a thing or two about that. And so all it requires is for you to do a bit more research and actually apply what you already know. And as you apply what you know, more knowledge, more skill comes to the forefront, and before you know it, you're actually outskilling the people that you were paying previously. Exactly. So I think that's a really big message that I want to get across to particularly those that are starting out in entrepreneurship. You might think, gosh, I don't know a lot about something, and to begin with, you might go down the rabbit hole of trying to learn everything yourself, and there are certainly times where you would want to hire and assistance and help for sure, but you'll also find that as time goes on, you are going to get more and more and more skillful, and you'll start honing in your skills in particular areas, and then you can outsource in the other areas. The other thing that I've sort of pulled up here is resilience, so that resilience that you have that just keeps you going. So no matter what, no matter how many times you get told, no, you can't, or, you were supposed to get that, but you're not going to get it anymore. That didn't stop you. It might have put a little bit of a few bumps in the track at the time, but it certainly didn't stop you from continuing on. And the other thing I'm hearing loud and clear is just this ethics seem to be extremely important to you, and each of those stories where people have been less than ethical in their practices, you've recognized that and called it out. And it seems to me that you've really embedded that level of ethics into the things that you do. And it's interesting because the things that you're talking about here, like I was actually starting to write a blog yesterday, and it was like the things that you can do, or the things that the behaviors, traits that you can have that actually don't cost you anything. And so the things that you've just spoken about don't actually cost a dime. Any individual, any entrepreneur can adopt them and apply them to their life. So you're talking about resilience. That doesn't cost a penny. Having good ethics, being resourceful, all of those things don't cost us any money. But yet often we overlook those and we don't apply them to what we do. Yet they are the most valuable things we can have, because in every story you've just told, they have come up time and time and time again, and they actually haven't cost a dime. So it's quite interesting, when we talk about it from that perspective, we overlook as business owners those things, thinking that they're just, they're just there. I have to focus on the things that cost.
You make a good point. So when somebody starts a business, they are a business owner. I want to be clear on this. They are not an entrepreneur. They're not a serial entrepreneur. This isn't to put anybody down. I started as a business owner. So a business owner has passion, but they're trying to figure out how to hold a wall up, how to, do a chief cook, bottle wash. You're trying to figure everything out. You're learning about rules from the state. You're getting fines, all kinds of problems. And then you become an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is somebody that is passionate and has found the resources, has found the resilience. And then you become a serial entrepreneur, which is what happened to me. But the story I want to tell you about resilience, if you think those were good, those were toys. I had I won't mention his name. He is an elected official in our state. And I went to this place and I said to them, I'd like to head up this group, which I had told you about. And they said, oh, sure. Meanwhile, the group was being run unethically. It was going basically down. It was supposed to be a charity, but people were stealing money. Everybody on the board their kids were getting scholarships. I said, this doesn't work right. And then I tried to combat it, and they tried to sue me. And I said, this isn't right. I said, I'm going to bring out the truth. Well, about 3 or 4 months in, we started working on a campaign basically called Shop Local as a courtesy. We were planning on launching it. A month or two later, I get a call from this gentleman. This is after him seeing me for about a year and seeing what I've been doing. He's threatened by me. And he called me up. He says, John, when are you free? I said, I don't think I'm free till next Thursday at 2:00. Or after that, it'll probably be on the 4th Wednesday next month. Oh, well, I guess we'll take the next. So I was in a rush to go see him. He says to me, John, when are you going to give up? Like, you had your fun. When are you going to give up? Excuse me. And I said to him, what do you mean? He says, John, the chamber and all that stuff. He says, when are you just going to realize you're done? Like, this was a nice game you played, but when are you just going to hang up your hat and just, realize we don't use that in our town? I said, he said, well, forget about that for a moment. We'll get back to that in a minute. He says, by the way, that program you came up with last year, the local, I said, yes, it's a good program. So, well, thank you. We're launching and you're not. Okay, can we help you? No. All right, well, So you asked me a question, when am I going to give up? And, give me a minute. So I'm sitting in the chair. I said, give me a minute. And I'm closing my eyes. He goes, what are you doing? I said, I don't want to lie to you, sir. I want to give you the exact month, the exact day, the exact hour, minute, second that I'm going to give up. So just give me a minute. I said, I got it, sir. He's like, I'm going to give you the exact month, hour, day, and second that John Morley is going to give up and close the chamber. Well, finally, you've come to your senses. I said, I'm going to give up, sir, when a little baby boy or a little baby girl tells their parents they don't want to walk anymore. Gives me all kinds of faces. He goes, what is that? I said, you have 2 boys and a girl, I think. Yeah, you're a parent. Well, let me ask you a question. When did they ever tell you that they didn't want to learn to walk anymore? He's looking at the ceiling. He's making all kinds of faces. Mm. He goes, never. I always knew that you were a very bright and intelligent man from the moment I met you. You know what he told me? John, you're arrogant. Now get the blank out of my office. I said, sir, I'll be happy to. I didn't need your help today. I actually came here with an olive branch to ask for your support because I thought it would be the right thing to do. And he didn't say a word. And we've had this little tit-tat back and forth. And so why is that story important? I'm not sure if you picked it up. Everybody wants to be liked in life, right? They all want to be liked. Mm-hmm. The problem is, if you're liked by everybody, you're not going to be successful. Now, I don't mean you have to be hated. I don't mean that. I mean that if you are liked by everyone and you don't have a few people that are like a little nervous about you or a little concerned about what you're going to do, because I have this personality because of my passion, they call me a bull in a china shop. A little harsh, if you ask me. But it's because I don't tolerate nonsense. I throw the entire china out, the shelves, the store. I knock the building down, the dirt, and I put a whole new building in. And they're not used to that. They want to just tip to say, I don't have time for that. And so when everybody likes you, okay, you are not bringing your A game. If you're not bringing your A game to the table every single time, someone else will, and you will be replaced. I learned that lesson 5 years ago.
And like you say, it's not about, being horrible about things, but it's about, I think in that it is about, knowing who you are, knowing what your boundaries are, knowing what it is that you want, and being really, being willing to. I wrote a book with a good friend of mine, Vicky Helm, and it was released last year. So one of the one of the methodologies that we talk about is being able to stand out, and stand firm. And when you know who you are confident in that, and you have those boundaries, you can do those things really, I'm going to say nicely. You don't have to be an ass about it.
Right.
You can be very firm about it. And this is what I want, and this is what I need, and this is what I'm about.
But still polite.
Absolutely.
You probably encountered people in your life that they might have had negative energy. Now that can happen. So when that happens, I say, look, you might be having a bad day. I understand. Maybe we should do this another time or whatever. And if it happens again, I was like, we've met a couple times, and I'm trying to help you to work together, and you're just very negative. So what I'm going to ask is that if you're going to have those kind of inclinations, that we probably reschedule when you have more of a better attitude.
Yeah.
And
time to time, right? You meet some level of resistance.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I saw on your YouTube channel, you're talking about how to deal with that. When you do meet some level of resistance, how do we deal with people like that? And I think that comes back to, the things that you've talked about, and having those very clear boundaries, understanding what is the right environment to work in that actually creates a win-win situation. Because if you get the right environment, then, and you've got two people or however many people that are willing to come to the table without and release the level of, there is no level of resistance there, then you can do really magical things together. If the timing, the environment, the attitude, etc., is all meshing, like you said, like you had with the radio show host, hey, we'll just do, yeah, you can come on, you can be a co-host with me. We'll just do one episode. And then obviously you guys got into a bit of a jive, and it was like, actually, this is pretty good. We're doing pretty well together. So let's continue with that. So I want to, what are the other things? And I know this is something that I think comes from your, it would be either the Silver Method or from NLP. And I heard it throughout the intro piece that you were talking about, and it's around creating anchors. And so I want to talk about that in the context of motivation. And so firstly, let's talk through, like, what is an anchor? Why would you use that? And how do you use an anchor to help you, I suppose, maintain a level of motivation and help to propel you forward?
Okay, well, we said before, we can agree that sometimes people go negative, not because of their fault, but I like to talk about things, Tracy, and saying that when you have a challenge with someone, this will make this easy. I'm never upset with somebody. I just want to address the behavior. I understand, Megan, what's going on, and I think you're a great person. And I just want to let you know how I feel. You see, when anybody does that, and that behavior, not you, but just when that behavior comes toward me, it makes me cringe a little bit. And you're a wonderful person. And I don't want to do that towards you. So I was just wondering what we could do so that doesn't happen next time. So people are creatures of their subconscious, right? We've said this before. We said that you can't be in your peak state all the time. Right? But you want to be. You can be if you know how to be. Have you ever stubbed your toe when you get up in the morning? You stub your toe and you're like, oh my gosh. And okay, you stub your toe. Let me ask you this. Have you ever gone over a bump in a road? Maybe 5 years ago, you went over a bump. Could you tell me what bump it was? How bad the bump was? No, it was a bump, right? It went, it was gone. People stub their toe, they spiral down, and then their whole day winds down. All these things happen. And then, so what we need to do is when we notice that our life or a pattern is taking us down a rabbit hole we don't want to go, we need to use anchors. But you can't use an anchor until you've created the anchor. So an anchor that I teach a lot of times is something called an abundance anchor. And it's really easy to do. I tell people to take their hand, okay? And what I tell people to do with that hand is I tell them to take their other hand, their let's say their dominant hand, and just to pinch very gently, not in pain, just pinch there, just like that. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about abundance in your life. Now, abundance could be health, it could be money. I want you to think about where would you spend it. Think about this for a moment. Now, you've gone to your car dealership before, and you've probably been unhappy because you couldn't get the car that you wanted. Imagine going to that car dealership, or even a better one, and being able to get any car with any option because any price tag is okay now. And you can get the car, and you can get the respect you deserve because they're going to spend the time with you because you could buy anything you want. And just imagine for a moment how you're going to feel sitting in that brand new, whatever it is, see the color, smell the leather, smell the seats, the navigation, driving that car. How do you feel? Better yet, you're pulling up to your favorite restaurant in that car and you're getting it valet parked. How does that feel when the valet brings you your car? Pretty amazing, right? How does it feel when you can go out for clothes? And if you don't see what you want, well, you could just have it made for you. Or maybe You want to have something in your life. You don't have it right now. Think about that. I tell people to make a list of 300 things that they want, not things they believe they can have. So we're still keeping our finger held. And thinking about how that abundance is, think about what people are going to say to you when you can already see the money just flowing into your bank account. I use an amazing phrase, large sums of money come to me easily and quickly in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis for the good of all that I get to keep. I'm going to say it 2 more times because you always want to say things 3 times. Large sums of money come to me easily and quickly in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis for the good of all that I get to keep. Still holding your finger, large sums of money. You see the money. It's coming out of the ATM. It's flowing from the sky. It's in your bank account. You're just seeing it. You're seeing it on your bank balance sheet, whatever it is, coming to you easily and quickly. You don't want to work hard for it. From multiple sources. You don't want it just from one. In increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. You don't want just once. That for the good of all, we don't want to harm anybody with this money. People have plenty of money. We want to get it from people that can afford it, that I get to keep. I don't want to get the money and then have to give it back. Now, imagine just having everything you want in your life. Maybe it's your dream home, relationships, and tell me how you feel right now. And if you can just feel that resonating for a moment. Some people close their eyes, some people don't. It's totally up to you. Closing your eyes can help visualize a little more. But now I want you to feel that feeling, not in your mind. I want you to feel it in your heart. I want you to feel it in your heart and feel how that is. And I want you to feel it so much that you know it's already yours. And when you feel that, let go. That's the point. You created the anchor. Now take your thumb and index and just go back and touch. You'll start to get those chills again. Now, it may not work for you the first time if you haven't done anchors in your life. So you may have to do it 3 or 4 times. So if you're in a situation, oh my gosh, I've heard this from a lot of people. Oh, John, I said, what's the matter? Oh, I don't have any money. Oh, what do you mean? Oh, I don't have any money. I got this notice from the court. They're coming after me. I'm getting summonses. Well, what's going on? I don't know. Like, I don't have any money. I said, well, I think I know your problem. No, I don't have a job. I don't have money. That job I quit. And I was like, well, I know what you could do. No, I don't have any money and I just need to get some. Okay. So there's something called gratitude. You know what that is? No, I don't have time for that. I just need to make money right now. I don't have time for this gratitude nonsense. All right. Can you just humor me for a moment? I know I'm an idiot, but just humor me. I want you to just take a moment and be grateful for everything in your life. John, I don't have time to do that. I don't have any money. All right. Forget about money for a moment. Do you know the alphabet? Okay. We could start with the letter A. What are you grateful for? Oh, John, I don't know. Air, right? You can breathe. And you can go through the whole alphabet. So what I do is every day I put my ring on, I take my ring off, and I do a ritual of being grateful. John, I don't have time for that. I'm so busy. So busy doing what? Well, I'm trying to make money. Just do this for me for 7 days. It's going to take 10 minutes out of your whole day. Yeah, but I'm a busy person. I said, if you can't give 10 minutes a day to be grateful, you don't deserve all the abundance that's about to come to you. Because you see, if you go to a restaurant and you order a filet mignon, do they give you a turkey sandwich? I don't think so. Or if you order let's say a Pinot Grigio, do they give you a Pinot Noir? No. They give you what you ask for. So when you ask for a filet mignon butterfly, you're going to get a filet mignon butterfly. If I ask for a turkey sandwich, so what you asked for, yeah, but John, I didn't tell the universe I didn't want money. Yes, you did.
I did.
When? Well, you said, I don't have any money. The universe heard you. Yeah, but I didn't say it out loud. You said it in your heart. Your heart is a manifestation engine. Huh? So I have a story to tell about that in a minute. But first, what I want to say is, when you understand that gratitude does not come from here, I can be very polite to you. I can say, thank you, Tracy. That's great. Today, I don't say thank you to you. I express my gratitude for your time, for your choice to interview me. You see, gratitude is a vibration. Thankfulness is not. And so there was a man, was a teenager, and he had died of a heart attack. There was another man, about maybe 2 years younger, a boy. And he gets this heart transplant from this person that died. He wakes up in the bed. His parents are there. And they said, can we get you something? Yeah, I have a craving for Kentucky Fried Chicken. The mother and father was like, you hate Kentucky Fried Chicken. I know, but I have a craving for it. Yeah, but you don't like it. Please. All right. So they go get Kentucky Fried Chicken. And it's not just that day when they go home. He's having Kentucky Fried Chicken every day. So they talk to the mother for the person because they're very grateful, not thankful, grateful that they had the perfect donor match for their son. And she said, what did you say? Well, he just keeps saying that he always wants Kentucky Fried Chicken. He has a craving for it. Oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this. What? My son was addicted to Kentucky Fried Chicken. We would go there like 4 times a week. So what does that mean? That means that a big part of your life is stored in your heart. There was a lady, probably just over her teens, maybe like 19. And there was a man that was always trying to go after her, and attack her, accost her, abuse her, whatnot. But one night, that man actually did kill her. Nobody knew this, though. So she had a heart, and a transplant went through for another girl that was 2 years younger than her. Mm-hmm. She had the heart, and about a day or two after she got the heart transplant, she was having nightmares, telling her mother, Mommy, I'm having nightmares. What? There's this man, he keeps coming in the middle of the night, and he keeps coming after me. Where are you? It's a bad dream. Oh, it's just a bad dream. But it's getting worse, and it's getting stronger, and it's happening every night. So finally, they go talk to a psychologist, thinking something's wrong with her. And the lady, after a couple times, she says, would you mind if I bring the police in? She's like, oh, no. No, she's like, I think there might be a reason why she's having. No, she's just a little girl. So they're not going to harm her. Just if we could let them sit in, I would really appreciate it if it's okay with your daughter. I guess. So man comes in, the chief of police, and they're sketching things out. They bring a special sketch person in. And she's like, well, who is this man? Oh, this man's in my dream every night. What's he doing to you? He's trying to hurt me, abuse me. He's trying to kill me, I believe. Do you know what the man looks like? Yeah, I see him so vividly. He had this hat, he had this, and the whole thing. Really, could you tell us some more details about him? Like, does he have a beard? Does this? Yeah, he's horrible, and he has this very raspy voice. I'll be right back. So he leaves, comes back. 2 days later, they find the man that killed the daughter, and they find where they buried her in her testimony. And the girl was the one that actually told them where she was buried. So they went to him and said, did you put her? No, I didn't put her. But everything was all on him. So what does this prove? Now, the dreams went away once they did this, but what does this prove? It means that a good essence of our life is not stored up here. It's stored here. There's something called the heart-brain connection. When they are in tandem, working together, that's when miracles happen. See, most people, and I didn't know this until about 5 or 6 years ago, miracles don't happen with our brain. They happen somewhere else. They happen in our heart. our body has something called a RAS, a reticular activating system. And this was given to us so that we could basically have safety in our life, right? It was not designed to make us a billionaire. It was not designed to give us pleasure. It was designed to protect us, fight or flight. But you can train your RAS to help you. It's just, it has to know that it's safe, but you have to take some risks. If you go on the road and I ask you, what color do you see a lot for a car? You probably pick the color that's your car, right? I ask somebody else, what color is he? Oh, it's this color. Why is that? Because the reticular activating system is focusing on. So that means something very important that we learned from Earl Nightingale many, many years ago, and I've read lots of his books. We become what we think about most often. Another great thing is if we change our words, we'll change our thoughts. Change our thoughts, we'll change our mind. If we truly change our mind, we will in fact improve the quality of our life, and that is what we want for everyone now, isn't it? So we are communicating to the universe in symbols, in languages, what we want. So this lady that was saying, I don't have any money, I don't have this, I don't have that, just by her changing that, it really affects, because you're probably saying, John, how does that happen? It happens because the RAS shuts down. It doesn't look for things. If you say, I'm making money, I'm doing this, the RAS is like, all right, I guess I got to show you ways to make money, to bring money in. You say you don't have money, well, I guess I got to prove to you don't have any money. I got to prove to you you're broke. I got to prove it to you. So that's what happens. And people don't get it. Most people don't get this until many, many years in their life. So understanding our mind, understanding the heart-brain connection, but really understanding how we connect and our vibrations to the world. We're able to sense people's connections between us. We're all connected at the conscious level. And so when you realize this, there's so much that can happen. If you have something in your life that's giving you a hard time, I tell people to pray about, but I tell people to meditate about it. Now, what does that do? Well, does it send a magic message to them? Yes, it does communicate, but that's not really what happens. It affects you as a person, so that when you're now in front of that person, you react differently. That's what happens. That's the magic. Yes, energy can do lots of great things, and positivity is the key to success. But people think you can just step on the gas pedal for a turn and then you stop. You got to hold that gas pedal down, and you got to hold it down with intention and sincerity, honor and integrity. If you try to do something to harm or hurt someone, you may get ahead today, but you're going to pay a price, and it may not be money many years to come. That's karma.
Absolutely. Well, it's this whole conversation today, I think, it boils down to a couple of really fundamental things. And I think, you've just talked about them then. Moving forward in life, whether it's, life in general or in your business life, with a level of positivity, with a level of opportunism, that things will be okay, that the way in which we think, if we're thinking that, oh gosh, things are not going to go so well, more than likely they're not going to go so well, because that's what you're going to attract and bring into your life. If we can think about, and we can change our thoughts, our inner dialogue to be more positive, to be, as you say, one of the things I always love to give our audience an activity to go away with. And I think there's two key activities that you've spoken about today. So one was making that list of 300 things that you want. Not that you think you can have right now, but that you want. So I want you guys to go away and actually make yourself a list of those 300 things. Be wild, dream big. Think about all the things that you would absolutely love that would bring
be
joy
specific. Be specific.
Yeah, and jot those down. So get those 300. And the other was, the anchoring, the abundance anchoring. So I want you guys to go back, and I jotted down a time, and I think it's at about 32 minutes in today's conversation where John was giving us that very specific dialogue that we can say aloud, say to ourselves over and over again to help you anchor. He gives you the anchoring technique to anchor what it is that you want in your life, the abundance anchor. So there's those two
there was one more too.
things.
There's a third thing we taught too.
Give me that third thing, John.
We said that everyone should adopt an attitude of gratitude.
Oh,
and you
absolutely.
should make that ritual in the morning and the afternoon. If you can't think of what to be grateful for, look at the alphabet.
Yeah.
And just think of things in the world that start with that letter. Name two things. Do it while you're driving. Do it while you're in traffic.
And I'm glad that you reminded me of that, because that is something, again, that, it's easy to kind of wake up in the morning and go through life and not really think too much about what you have in your life and what you're absolutely grateful for. And given the February that I've just had, I'm super grateful for the stuff that I've, got in my life. And sometimes when you're in the thick of things, it's sometimes a little difficult to think about that. But using the alphabet as a bit of a guide and a prompt to help you think about, A for air, breathe. I'm able to breathe. C, could be your cat, whatever the case may be.
Car, anything.
Going through all of those and just being truly grateful for the things that we have in our life. And like John says, I believe too that the universe then listens and it will bring you more of what you ask for. And what we're, the things that we enjoy, it wants to give you what you want to make you happy. And if you're saying things like, I'm broke, I don't have this, I don't have that, it's going to give you more of that. So, utilizing those very simple, simple techniques, but yet they're not, as common as we would like them to be, because people don't use them to our advantage. But they're some of those free things that don't cost a dime.
Exactly. And they work
over and over. They absolutely do.
They work. I had a situation the other day. I was at a store, and I got to the store all the time. And when I was at the store, there was somebody that I went there. I was actually asking the owner. I said, "Hey, I'm building a float. I know you're a member of the chamber. Would you like to be on the float? We're celebrating 100 years." And he just wrote me a check for the check. I said, "Wow." I go walking out the store. And there's this guy coming in. He said, "Oh, he's a rabbi." I said, "Oh, hi, rabbi." He said, "No, I'm not a rabbi." He says he's talking to a rabbi on the phone. And we got into a conversation. He said, "How you doing? I'm from the same church and this and that." And I said, "How do you connect with people in our town?" I said, "It's so hard." I said, "My driveway could be on fire. Even though I'm a first responder, nobody would come and help." I said, "Everybody's so busy. They're all into themselves, with all due respect." He said, "John, you're right." I said, "Well, how do we get people to come to that connection?" "Oh, John, it's priceless." I said, "I put flyers here." He says, "You know what you got to do?" I said, "No, I don't." "You got to let them put a table here." So we got an idea that in 2 weeks, we're going to put a table in that store. And I'm going to give everybody a free cup of coffee that comes in to talk to me about the chamber and how it can help their business. So that idea was not in my head before. When I came home, and I had those deer, I realized, not at that moment, but last night at about 2 something in the morning when I was doing my show, that deer had shown up to give me a sign. I didn't know this when the deer was, I'm like, oh my gosh. But really, it was a sign saying I'm protected and that my vibrations are on the right path. And my vibrations are attracting this deer. It petrified me. But when you're in alignment with things, you can tell. But some people will go their whole life and never be in alignment because they're trying to live someone else's life. And that's the last thing I will share with you. And that is, be who you are. Don't try to live someone else's life or you will be sorry.
Authenticity. I love it. Well, look, I we've talked about a lot of things today, but the moral or the intention of today's show is to help people to find that motivation, to how to stay motivated. And I think with the things that John has shared, like we've covered 3 very key things, and they may not necessarily be the things that you expected. It's not like get up early, go to the gym, do this, say, it's not that sort of stuff. It's the stuff that you can do on the regular, any time of the day. And they're very, very simple activities around changing our attitude, changing the way that we think, using, and often it is also the language in which we use, both external and internally, that really does make a real difference to the way in which you feel. And then, as John said, it's connecting, our mind with our heart, those two connections to really bring into your life what it is that you want. Because once you've got that, once you really feel like, hey, I'm on the right track and I'm doing the stuff that I love, that will be the fuel and the motivation that you need to just keep you going. So I want to say
other people will actually notice that too in you.
Yeah, they will. Absolutely. They'll say, I don't know what's going on with you, but gosh, you got a bit of a pep in your step these days, which is great. So I want to say thanks so much, John, for being a fabulous guest and sharing your words of wisdom, sharing your story. And there's so, like I've mentioned earlier, there's so many, you go back and you re-listen to today's show, you yourself will pick up various different things that John has spoken about today. There'll be certain things that speak to you. But first and foremost, I want to say, take away these activities that John's given us so graciously today, because they can make a real difference to your life. And I just want to reiterate those three things. So making that list of 300, making sure that you go back, and I think it was about 32 minutes, the abundance anchor, and then also being grateful, using the ABC, the alphabet method, to really start thinking about and truly being grateful for the things that you have in your life. And we can assure you that more of that will start flooding into your life. And before you know it, if you want to change your life, this is the steps to do it. So thanks so much for being here. I wish you all the best. I know it's a late in the afternoon. I wonder if the deer's still outside.
No.
But have a fantastic rest of 2022. And I hope that we can catch up again sometime soon and we can talk more about entrepreneurism.
It was great. You can maybe come back and check out my book that'll be out in a few months, 25 Gifts of Inspiration to Change Your Life. And you can pop the link up. Do check out my link tree.
I will.
And I would encourage you guys to not only go there, but there's lots of free things in there, and they're short. And you could learn something that you could apply to your life.
Well, there you go, guys. Head on over to Linktree, linktr.ee/John C Morley, serial entrepreneur. And you'll be able to, as John said, there's a whole lot of information there that is absolutely free that can help, make a real difference in your life. So thank you very much for being here today. Thank you for your generous gifts of sharing your information so freely with all of our listeners. And I hope to have you back again someday soon. For now, thanks everybody for listening. You've been watching and listening to The Unlocked Show. I'm Tracy Wilson. I'll be back again next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Brisbane time, with another live show. And you guys know that for now, you need to make sure you go away and you live your life unlocked, because as you know, there is just no other way. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you so much.